This episode of Goosebumps Crew is sponsored by Stevie Wicks Candle Company, specializing in quality-made scented candles. Link in the description, but more on that later. Greetings, Goosebumps fans, young and old, big and small. Welcome back to the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Vargas, also known as the Goosebumps channel on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. And as always, I'm joined by my Goosebumps brethren, Goosebumps Aussie fan Bjorn Panlick and Shawin Nick Shaw. Unfortunately, the ultimate Goosebumps man, Michael Lilliquist, was unable to join us today, but that's okay because we got very special someone here today to talk with us. He is the incredible voice actor. He's probably most known as Wolverine in the X-Men animated series. He's also been in other animated series like Spider-Man, among others. But we, Goosebumps fans, know him best as the man behind the voice of our favorite dummy, Slappy. It's Cal Dodd. Cal, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Welcome to the Goosebumps crew.
Oh, thank you very much, Isaiah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, every now and then I'll just go into the pool. Actually, I can put my skates on because you can skate on it. It's minus 2 out here.
Yeah, nice ice skating rink right out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we have Cal Dodd with us today, and we're very excited. And of course, since we have him, we're going to be talking about the Night of the Living Dummy episodes and Slappy's appearances in the 90s Goosebumps series. But first, before we get to that, if you are not subscribed to the Goosebumps channel, what in the heck are you doing? You have so much to do, so much to see. This is our 12th episode. That means you have 11 other episodes that you could watch right after this one. So make sure you subscribe to the Goosebumps channel to keep up with future Goosebumps Crew episodes as well as ones that we've already done. And since we don't have any news from the world of Goosebumps this week, we're just going to jump right into the discussion. So, of course, like I said, we have Cal Dodd with us today. And before we talk about Goosebumps, why don't we get to know you a little bit? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Cal?
No.
Okay. Anyway.
Next question.
All right.
Can you imagine if someone actually did that?
Yeah, it's just be like, okay, I guess we're just going to talk about Goosebumps right away.
That's what, you're on the show and that's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
I said, I'm sorry, I can't talk about myself.
Just be like, no, that's too personal.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Well, I was born in Ireland, came to Canada, and when we were I was 5, there were 3 of us at that point, and then 2 more were born in Canada. And regular upbringing, Irish. A lot of singing, which is what I ended up doing my entire career when I came to Toronto, was to sing. And I was the singer for jingles, TV commercials, TV radio commercials, like the jingles they're called, the songs, like 2 scoops of raisins in a package of Kellogg's Raisin Bran. I sang that for years. And all kinds of Canadian beers, of course. Labatt Blue Light and stuff like, whatever. All kinds of beers. Bras, Wonder Bra I did for years with another girl, of course, who was wearing them and singing the female part of the wonderful, wonderful Wonder Bra.
I was about to say, did they make you wear the bra?
No. Although I wanted to.
That would have been great.
So they flew us to Montreal to do that, and they flew me to Chicago once to sing with. Oh man. Great singer. I did a couple of telethons with him. His big record was "Here Comes the Sun," the Beatles cover. And he did that at Woodstock. Okay, this is the way I always get his name. The guy that died in the big airplane crash with Buddy Holly. There was Buddy Holly. The guy that sang
Big Bopper? Richie Havens. Yep.
Richie Havens. Richie Havens is the dude that sang "Here Comes the Sun, Little Darling." Great gravelly kind of voice. Anyway, so we flew from Toronto, and all we had to sing was from Olsen Export Ale, which is Canadian beer, but they were doing it the advertising was being done out of Chicago. So we flew there, and all we had to sing was X Says It. So whatever he was singing, he was the lead vocal. Richie, and we would just go exit, and we stayed overnight and everything, and flew home the next day after. That's all we did.
Oh.
But those kind of things, and singing was everything. Then I toured with Joe Cocker. We formed her up. I didn't form it, but the guys to replace Three Dog Night in the States. Three Dog Night had folded, and they were a fantastically successful trio group, like three male singers, and a great band as well. And Jeremiah's got a bullfrog and all. They had great hits. And so they retired, or they just quit. One of them quit or whatever, and that was the end of them. And so the people that were the record company didn't want to lose all that ink, so they put singers. I was the lead vocal dude, and there was the other two guys, and I arranged the vocal arrangements for this. And we rehearsed underground for 10 months, and then we flew to New York and recorded our first album. And then a second album a year later or something, and then I just got tired of it and left that, because all the while I was still doing. But the tour with Cocker was just extremely exciting and fantastic. The best band I'd ever heard. The band was called Stuff. Players in New York, and that, my Rory was in had been. I went to Broadway, and we happened to be in New York. I turned down the show on Broadway because I was going to do this rock and roll thing, like through the Three Dog Night thing. But we were called. The group was called Deja Vu, like in the experience, Deja Vu. So that was the name of our group, and we had 2 albums. Anyway, Rory was there with Beverly D'Angelo, who was in the show. She went from Canada to be in the show on Broadway, and Rory met Meatloaf in the cast. Meatloaf was in the cast and Jim Steinman. So Rory met Steinman and Meatloaf, and they're both gone. And so Rory was with Meatloaf from the beginning, and like the background singer with Meatloaf, with a girl, and they toured the world, which he just loved it. And he never came back from New York. He stayed there. I on the other hand, came back after the Cocker tour, quit the rock group, and went back to what I was doing anyway, the jingle singing. And I had got a TV show for 5 years. It was syndicated worldwide. It was myself and a girl, co-stars. What's his name? Did the pilot with us? Leslie Nielsen did the pilot with us. Yeah.
Yep.
And we sold it. We went to Vegas, sold it, and then Viacom bought it. It was, like I said, it was syndicated worldwide, and it was singing. We had like 6 dancers, great music, like covers. We were just whatever popular hits of the day, and circus acts, the most unbelievable circus acts, like legit. The Walendas and elephants, tigers, monkeys, clowns. Too many clowns, they get out of 8 of them get out of one little car.
Were there monkey clowns?
Yeah, I took. And so that was 5 years of that, and all the while still doing the jingle thing. And then, where does that bring us? 78 to 83, and then back to doing the jingle thing, and that brought us up to 92, which is when I did audition for the X-Men, and did that. So I got that, obviously, the role for Wolverine, and that was 92 to 97, and at 96 I started doing Slappy.
Yep.
For 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good transition into that aforementioned character. Yeah. So as I said before, I mean, people probably know you best for X-Men. X-Men the Animated Series was a pretty popular cartoon. A lot of people, especially the fans of Marvel Comics, got into that series growing up. But you were also on Goosebumps as the voice of Slappy. Now, obviously, Goosebumps has a lot of iconic monsters and villains and all that, but probably none are as iconic and more memorable as Slappy. And you had the honor of being the voice of the very first screen adaptation. Before then, it was just the books. And this was before the movies and the news TV show. So this 90s version of Slappy was the first. Now, I believe you said you auditioned for Slappy?
And I don't recall, you know what, I don't recall auditioning. I just remember the guy asking me if I would, I went in and read, he just wanted to hear me, what I came up with. And again, I just walked into the studio and he sort of said it should be a high-pitched, obviously, voice and an eerie thing, of course. And as soon as I did the laugh, like, that thing, he just went, yeah, like that. And that was all. I mean, there was no, like, not a real audition that I was aware of. If there was, maybe he did try other people's with it, but I ended up doing it.
Yeah.
Totally different from X-Men and Wolverine stuff. Like, not only the voice, but in the way in which we recorded. It was like sort of ADR stuff. Well, because he's a dummy. I had to match his lips, and watch it. And the bar would come across the screen, and as soon as they meet, that's when I would start doing the voice. So I would do the voice, but I'd also have to watch his lips and look down at the script at the same time. So it was a bit getting used to do that, like to look up and down.
Yeah.
It would be sort of difficult because it's a dummy ventriloquist dummy mouth as well. It would make it a little bit more difficult as well, like to try and match in with how his mouth's moving, because it's going up and down. So it's a little different.
Yeah, because it's just like
an animated character who's just
And thank God I didn't have to, as the real ventriloquist and with the dummy, they can't move their lips because but they let me move my lips. Well, that's good.
What if they made you do it anyways? Like, it's more authentic. So even though you're not doing it, you still should not move your lips. Yeah. It's like, oh God.
You're not going to say like that, was it?
And it was just, he was such a weird, airy little character. And now I'm doing since probably about 2 years prior to COVID, I started doing Comic-Cons for Wolverine. And I was, after like 2-3 years, all of a sudden I'm at one of those things. And because on my banner behind me, it just mentioned the characters that I had done. Mm-hmm. And I never ever brought anything like pictures because, they want you to sign pictures. And I have pictures of, Wolverine, all like 10 of them and stuff. But I had nothing for Slappy. And this girl, the kids started coming up and saying, do you have any Slappy, anything you can autograph for Slappy? And I said, no. No. So I was surprised. And then it just snowballed. It was just unbelievable. And one of the show owners in Michigan, not Lansing either. I can't remember. Anyway, the show owner came up to me and I had, by this time I had lots of Slappy pictures. And I always carried my Bluetooth speaker with me because I can play the theme song, which I think is very cool theme song.
Mm-hmm.
It's
iconic.
Yeah, and I love it. I think it's a groove, and it's a buddy of mine who wrote it here in Toronto, Jack Lenz, and I did some of the dog barks in the theme song.
Oh,
and I also did. Viewer beware, you're in for a scare. I did that in the theme song.
Yeah, not many people knew that. Obviously they knew that you did Slappy, but there was some people I told them was he also did the intro, and they're like, what?
Yeah, I literally had somebody the other day is like, where'd you get that info from? Kind of sarcastically, I was like, I'm pretty sure Cal Dodd tweeted it once, and I read that, and I couldn't believe it myself, but if he's saying he did it, he did it. So
I love the way you said that. It's like, where'd you get that info from? Your mom? No.
From Slappy himself, we got the info.
Yeah, and also the like I said, the dog barks because it had to be like with the theme song.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's actually my text tone. Funny enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And viewer beware, you're in for a scare. And then and also I did the lawn gnomes. Anytime the lawn gnomes were anything, I did all the voices of the lawn gnomes, which are just like not really any couldn't they never literally spoke, but they just made those weird little noises. And I also did, which I totally forgot about, the voice of Dennis, who is Amy, the girl's little dummy.
First dummy.
Oh,
Yep, that one was like the goofy, almost like goofy-ish voice. It's like, oh,
Yeah, I didn't know that one. Wow, that's incredible.
I couldn't find it though, Isaiah. I couldn't find a voice reference like for it to remind me of like what his voice was like.
Yeah, it's very when Amy's doing it, it's very much like a high-pitched version of like her voice, because it's like, hey, everybody. But
I know.
yeah,
I heard that, and I heard that. I said, "That's not me."
yeah. But the ending part, when he actually comes to life, and he looks over, he's like, "Oh, it's good to be back in the family again." Like,
It sounds like kind of like Goofy a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember I always used to say it sounds a little bit like Goofy.
yeah. Even down to the
Oh, I know. Hey, Mickey. Yeah.
We're gonna have Disney knocking at our doors.
It's the voice. The voice, I think, because his name's Dennis. Like you just imagine he would have that kind of like lazy kind of like voice. You know.
Oh,
like,
hey there. Oh, hey there, little lady.
Yeah. Like a hillbilly. He's like a kind of got that hillbilly name. So
Hey,
it
hey.
just makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great ending to that episode. It's just, I mean, it's in the book, but in the book you don't actually see Dennis, but in the episode you look over and there he is. He's just like, hey, everybody.
And nice hair too. He had really groovy hair, Dennis.
Yeah. That red shirt and those pants.
Yeah.
The poor Dennis was always getting knocked over by Slappy. Slappy was just horrible to poor Dennis.
Yeah, made him lose his head.
Somebody come up at a Comic-Con. So anyway, the Comic-Con thing went crazy for anyway. So the show owner comes up to me and he says, he had my two pictures of those pictures. Find a doll, a dummy, like if you can get the actual size of Slappy like you have there. And because I never even entertained the fact of doing horror Comic-Cons, horror shows, he said, I know the top 3 runners of horror cons on the planet. He said, and I could put you in touch with them. You take those 2 pictures, and if you can find a dummy or whatever, he said, you would kill. He said, he is like unbelievably popular right now in the horror thing. And I went, Slappy is? They said, oh yeah, he's crazy. Like it's nuts. So I'm going in that direction now with Slappy. But then this person walked up. They were pushing a baby's pram, like a stroller.
Yeah.
And with Slappy, and it was a beautiful dummy. It cost them $2,000 for the doll of Slappy, and they rolled it up to my table, and of course, and I held him and stuff, and it was a weird feeling as I'm doing the voice with him beside me. It was just hilarious.
That's awesome. I just love that I pulled up in a baby carriage.
Yeah, and he pushed me over like as a kid, rolling around.
The fact that you got to actually like hold Slappy, because obviously doing the voice for him. Were you actually ever on set at all? Did they get you to come and visit the set? No. So, yeah.
No.
It would have been interesting to actually be there in the flesh to see Slappy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. No, I was curious about that too.
Actually doing, because I've been following you on Facebook and seeing where you're appearing and things like that, hoping that you come back to Indiana. And
me?
Yeah.
Come back to where?
Indiana.
Oh, Indiana. Is that where you are?
That's where I am.
Oh, okay.
Because you were a last-minute addition to a Comic-Con here at one point, but I had already had plans to do another convention, so I couldn't attend. If I remember
where
correctly,
in Indiana?
So I'm just about 30 minutes south of Indianapolis.
No, but where was this con that you're talking about?
Oh, it probably was in Indianapolis, either Indianapolis or Cincinnati. I can't remember exactly which one because I go to both.
Yeah.
Because both are pretty close.
I don't think
it might have been Indianapolis or might have been Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look, but it's funny because we were talking to Scott Wickware last night, who portrayed a character in a few different episodes for Goosebumps, and we told him the same thing. Like, there's a actual want for these actors and actresses, voice actors and everything, in the horror community. And,
well, no, but
like talking to him last night, and I'd mentioned, I was like, I'll bring it up because I go to a few conventions every year, and I talk to the people that run it and stuff on occasion, and I'll see if like they can reach out to you guys, like, because the information I have for you guys, like, I would love to have you guys do horror cons because I really do think you'd clean up.
Yeah, like this is the showrunner. This is the showrunner, and he said, "I'm telling you, and I'll put you in touch with them if you want." I haven't followed up with that either. But he just said you would kill.
Yeah,
and it's weird though because I don't know what exactly, because they have panels, not unlike this, of course, what we're doing right now, except on a panel. Yeah, and I have to answer questions, whatever, if they ask me questions. But I don't know a lot of the history of when the show, even the director, I couldn't remember his name, the guy that directed me every time I went in, the guy that hired me to do the voice and stuff. It's just, I don't know too much of the history of Slappy and all that stuff. And, I don't know what else they would ask me. Because I think just as soon as you do the voice, they're satisfied. It's like, oh, wow. Very cool. Yeah. Did you keep doing that for half an hour?
Of course they can, you dummy.
You do like a table read or something, like if you could get the voice actor who did Rocky, and you guys could like just do that whole scene right at the end of Bad Louie 23, but Slappy gets thrown out the window. You could redo that whole scene.
Oh, I love that scene. Slappy is like such a menacing threat, and then all of a sudden he's just getting his ass kicked in the last few minutes.
Yeah, people would love that though. Like people would eat that up if you did did a table read for that scene. Like it would be the Goosebumps community would just be losing their minds.
Yeah. So what was I going to say? Whatever you just said. I was in New York City. I think it was September or October at the New York City Comic Con, and I was sitting right beside Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh, right, and other things. And then beside me were two Power Rangers. Power Rangers, those are the guys that are red and green. There's a red and a green one. That's Power Rangers, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so Jim Cummings. So when the whole thing was over, it was a 5-day con, which is really unusual. And so we were staying in the same hotel, and he was with his wife at the bar, and she came over to me and said, could you do this thing with Jim? He always does this at a con. If he wants to get a big voiceover guy like himself, and you do your voice, Wolverine, but it's going to be a Winnie the Pooh line. And he will then do one of Wolverine's famous lines. And I said, okay, what would he like to do? She said, it's only like 5 to 6 seconds. And she puts it on YouTube, and it went viral. It just was stupid. So we moved to the table in the bar, like a booth or something. And I'm sitting beside him. And because I don't do Winnie the Pooh, I didn't even know what he sounded like. But after spending the weekend with him, I kind of would listen to him. And so I started it off by, what did I say? Oh yeah. So I said that the Winnie the Pooh line was, may I have a smackle of honey, please? So I turned to him and said, can I have a smackle of honey? and what you're doing right now, I just absolutely spit out whatever was in my mouth when he did his line. So he said, I go where I want to go. The Wolverine line, like, I go where I want to go.
But just coming out of Winnie the Pooh.
To go. And And when I heard him doing my line, I just went like, I couldn't control it.
Oh
She
my
said,
god!
perfect.
It's always funny making like
Started that same idea.
innocent characters like saying like really threatening stuff like that.
I go where I want to go.
It's like, oh, geez, Pooh, calm down.
Quite a lot, actually.
But
Jamie Foxx, the actor, he was on the Jimmy Fallon show and he had to do a Rolling Stones song, but as Jamie Foxx. So he was singing. He was singing Hakuna Matata for Lion King, but as Mick Jagger. And it like in the Mick Jagger voice, and it was one of the greatest things I think I've ever heard. You could do that with Slappy, like you could just sing different random songs like as Slappy. That would be so great.
I think that's what Rob Paulson does too. He had I don't know if he still does it, but he had like a podcast called Toon Talk, and it was basically every time he had a guest on, it was because it was always a voice actor of some kind. They would do a thing where they would do the same thing. They would play like a character. I think they would reenact a movie scene, and I don't remember what it was, but there was one like where they reenacted a scene from Pulp Fiction, and it was like I can't remember who the characters were, but it was absolutely funny. I think one of them was Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
It was like Pulp Fiction, and it was so funny, but like that's like awesome when voice actors get to do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Absolutely. Getting back to Slappy a little bit, because we want to talk a little bit about the episodes. So you were in Slappy was in 3 episodes. He was in Night of the Living Dummy 2, which came first. Then there was Night of the Living Dummy 3, which was the 2-part episode, the hour long. And then the last one was Bride of the Living Dummy. And that was the one with the other doll, the Mary Ellen doll. Now, these 3 episodes, I personally think, are really good. They're really enjoyable episodes, and I think
of the TV series you're talking about. Right?
Of the TV series, yep. Yep. And these episodes are really enjoyable, and I think it does come down to obviously Slappy as a character. He's one of those characters that can be funny yet scary depending on the situation you put him in. So, like, for example, when you have him in a scene where, like in the Night of the Living Dummy 2, when they're at the family night or whatever, where they're doing the show and tell. Sharing night, yep.
Yeah.
And Amy has Slappy, and she's controlling him at first, but then, and then Slappy takes over. She's like, well, what'd you think of Dad singing? He's like, that was your dad? What a relief. I thought the cat got stuck in the dishwasher. Like, that's funny.
I like, unlike, again, like the X-Men, I have every episode that I ever did, look, all 5 years of the thing. I have nothing from Slappy. I have nothing from Goosebumps, and I can't find anything anywhere.
Really?
Even ask Jack, the guy that did the, I don't, I remember little.
Oh, sorry.
I remember little or nothing of those episodes. Like,
really?
It's weird. This is what I mean about when people start asking me those questions. They go like, I don't know. It's just that's all. I just don't remember any of it.
It makes sense though, because I mean, unlike Wolverine, which was a full-on TV show, you were one of the main characters.
Doing it at the same time.
Yeah, and Goosebumps, as iconic as Slappy was only in 3 episodes, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but I loved Slappy and loved watching the show, obviously, because he was such a little weasel. Little evil weasel.
Yep. No, he would wisecrack. He's one of those people that probably won't like physically attack you, but he will like make your life a living hell.
Yeah.
Oh, he's psychological. That's one of the things we always said about Slappy. Because in the first Night of the Living Dummy, which is the one they never actually did back in the 90s, you've got another dummy named from the book. His name's Mr. Wood. But he's more just violent and, aggressive. Slappy takes more the psychological angle of tormenting his victims. And that's what we love about him so much. He's our favorite evil little puppet boy, I mean, he's comfort to me, like growing up as a kid. Like I used to watch I'm going to geek out a little bit here, but I had the VHS tape as a kid, which I now have about 40 copies. I love it that much. And I used to watch it every day after school, and I would watch it 3-4 times in a row. I'd watch it, rewind it, watch it, rewind it. So it was like comfort for me growing up as a kid, you know, because I wasn't super popular, you know. And you brought life to the character that was so comforting for me as a kid. Like, you have no idea. It's like, it's my life, honestly. This character right here is everything to me, and it's so great to have you on and talk to you now, you know, about all these things. And I imagine there's plenty of other kids out there that have grown up now that are the same, you know, like Goosebumps has just become such an iconic thing, you know. Slappy is Slappy is the most iconic character. And even though they've had the movie version, the new 2023 version, nothing beats the original 90s Slappy. He is everyone's favorite.
And it is the musical. Is it out yet? Is the musical Goosebumps musical? Has that happened?
Yes, there was a Goosebumps musical. It was based off the book Phantom of the Auditorium, and yes, that has been out for a couple years now.
Very popular.
Oh, it has been
very popular.
Yeah, because I met them at the New York Comic-Con. They were great people. They gave me all kinds of free stuff, like a Goosebumps musical, like great colors, purple, and shopping bags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so on my website, caldodd.com, I have Wolverine, of course, and then the very next, like for the people to listen to, is Slappy in whatever episode that I started, which and that I do when I'm at Comic-Cons and stuff, because the kids, it's so funny because they'll just stand there. They'll be like, these kids will be like 10, 11 with their mom, and the mom freaks out first, but then the kids just go, like, one of them actually ran and just when I did it, she just started uncontrollably like crying and ran to her mom, held on to her mom, like crying, and her mom said, no, she can't believe, because all of a sudden I just do the voice. I'll do this whole scene, so it takes me a while to think about him. So
wasn't very nice of you to dump me in the sewer like that. Don't you get it yet? You can't get rid of me.
And the little girl says, "What are you talking about?"
Don't you remember, Amy? You spoke the words, Taru Mario Dalaloma. You and I are one now, inseparable. You are my slave.
No, I'm not your slave. I'll never be your slave.
I can make you do anything I want. You have no choice. Your whole family thinks you're crazy. I'll see to that.
And then just
they'll
like,
lock you up.
Yeah, they'll lock you up.
No, we seen you. Oh, I see you on those visiting days.
Oh my God, this is great.
And she throws him. She's like, actually, the little girl has pushed him down on the ground and holding him down, like whatever. And he's just like still, like just looking at her, like.
Yep. Well, and at that point too, all bets are off, because the whole episode they're like, oh, that dummy's not alive. It's only the girl that knows it. And then after that scene, he's just like, well, the cat's out of the bag, I guess.
There's the one line that Slappy said that always traumatized. See, that episode actually, from what I heard, in Australia they aired it once and then they actually banned it for a little while because a lot of kids got traumatized by that episode. And there was one line in there, I remember my mum even going, did I hear that right? It's when Amy does knock Slappy to the ground and he says, Amy, I can hurt you and your family in 100 different ways. And you're kind of like, what?
And when I listened back, I didn't know what I was saying there, because she's sort of crying or something over top of that. That's the last line of this thing. And I couldn't figure out what he was saying. I can hurt you and your family in so many ways or something. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
I think it's that 100 different ways, or a lot of people also say maybe it was like 100 words, like almost like an insult sort of thing. It's kind of gone back and forth, but I think it's ways.
It's 100 ways.
It was a pretty like intense line, for a kids show, and I was like, whoa, did he just say 100 different ways he can hurt her? Like, all right, And I remember my mum going, what the hell? Like, did he just say?
Oh, yeah. And
I was only like 7.
Yeah, I belong to a golf course here in Toronto, and the bartender, Sandra, is about, I don't know, 52 or something, 52, 53. And her and her daughter, she did not realize that I was Slappy, but she was talking to someone else, and I overheard her, and she's talking about her and her daughter just can't stand hearing the voice. They just get terrified. So of course, I'm behind the bar. I just sneak up the side of the bar and did this first line.
Wasn't very nice of you to dump me in the sewer like that.
And she went, and she sees it. It's me. She said, "What are you doing? Don't do that." I said, "Well, that is my voice. I was slapping." She said, "No fucking way."
Oh, yes, way.
Oh my God! Wait till I tell my daughter. That is terrible. It's great.
Just be like, "What did you say about me?"
Yeah, and a little 12-year-old boy at the snack bar where you go after 9 holes, the snack bar, grabbing his numbers, and he's 12. Yeah, I think he's about 12, and he would do this regularly, just pull me, and he said, "Mr. Dodd, can you do the Slappy voice, please?" No, so I would be calling, "That's just the greatest." And then it's off. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Just like, "Thank you very much. That's all I needed."
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, that's amazing. No, and that's like I said. So so that episode that you quoted was the first one you were in. That was Night of the Living Dummy 2, and even though it's called Night of the Living Dummy 2, it's very confusing because there wasn't a Night of the Living Dummy 1 episode. The first episode was based on the second book, so it's very confusing. But you were also in the 2 other episodes. So the third one was an hour-long episode, and this episode was the one where these kids get Slappy, and the family has a whole attic full of ventriloquist dummies. And Slappy brings one of them to life. His name's Rocky. And that was Eugene Lipinski, who was also in The Girl Who Cried Monster, who did the voice. And Rocky's like a gangster type. He's like, sure, boss. And so you got Slappy and you got Rocky.
I remember that. I mean, I can actually visualize that now.
Yeah.
Having, because I did watch it. And I thought I loved the guy's voice. I didn't ever know who he was. I don't even know if he was from Toronto or where. Because I was in Toronto doing that.
Yeah, he was in another episode. It was one of the first episodes. He was like the monster librarian, but he did the voice of Rocky. And like I said, he gave it sort of that old school gangsta, like almost what's the Muggsy in the Looney Tunes when he was the gangsters going up against Bugs Bunny. It was like, "Sure, boss, sure." Let him have it, boss, just like you said.
They were like mobsters in a way when you think about it. Like Slappy in his like suit with his red tie, and you got Rocky. It was a mobster gang or something, you know?
It was funny because he would like sick Rocky on and just be like, "You met my new bodyguard?"
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Oh, that was a great line. "You met my new bodyguard. He's not too bright, but he'll do anything I say. Won't you, Rocky?" Like,
sure, boss. But that one was good too. And that was the episode that had Hayden Christensen, who, much like Ryan Gosling, was not really well known at the time, but would go on to be a pretty big movie star in Star Wars and stuff like that. And
Anakin Skywalker. Yeah.
Yep. He was Anakin Skywalker. And it's pretty interesting to go back and, like I said, him and Ryan, especially Ryan. I mean, considering the kind of actor they are now.
This funny story about Hayden Christensen. He said there was apparently someone that follows me on Instagram, might follow you, Nick, as well. He actually went up to Hayden Christensen at a convention with a photograph of Zane, because his character he played in Night of the Living Dummy was Zane, to have him sign it. And apparently he actually was so shocked. And he was like, "Wow, like I'm signing a Goosebumps thing?" And it's like, that's just the power of it now. Like Goosebumps has become so iconic now that people are going back and they're loving it. And I like we talked earlier, I feel like if they did some kind of a Goosebumps con or something, like, it would clean up. I'd fly all the way over to the States.
I mean, 90s nostalgia is big right now. I mean, for a while it was 80s nostalgia, but now we're getting to the point where people who are kids in the 90s are growing up, and now they're the ones. That's the kind of properties that are getting big mainstream appeal and some like cult followings. But Goosebumps has been around for over 30 years now, and it's stronger than ever.
I'm surprised it hasn't been rebooted or a whole new thing like we're doing with X-Men. On Disney Plus, and it premieres in March sometime. They finally decided. I think
that's
but
that's the one with the MCU, right?
With Goosebumps. Pardon?
That's the one with the Marvel universe, right? Pretty sure. That's like the new one on Disney. The new one on Disney Plus for X-Men.
Yeah. X-Men '97.
X-Men '97.
Yep. That's very, very cool. Very exciting.
That Goosebumps. Yeah, the Goosebumps hasn't done something like that.
It actually did.
They have a Disney Plus show, but it did not really go well in the first season for a lot of Goosebumps fans.
It's not anything like the original series.
It did get greenlit for a second season though, so hopefully with some changes. They did have a version of Slappy in there, which was far different from what we've seen before though, because they were trying to make it too.
They're trying to make it more scary and less funny. The new Slappy, because there's been two versions of Slappy that came out after the original TV show, the 90s TV show. There was the one with the movies, the Jack Black movies, that was voiced by Jack Black himself. And then you had the new, there was the new reboot. And this was kind of a joke in the Goosebumps community because they made Slappy British. So he's got this British accent the whole time, and it's very he's very Cockney British accent. He's personally my favorite line in the whole show is when they're at a talent show and they do the thing where he takes over, and the kid who's sorry, I can't get this, I'm trying to get this off my hand. He's like, try having it up your ass.
No.
Yeah. They said that in Goosebumps. Goosebumps is adults now.
It felt out of place in a way. It felt kind of out of place. Don't get me wrong. When I heard it, I laughed, thinking, "Whoa, did they just do that?"
Oh, I cracked up. I was in stitches.
Yeah, there was a lot of things in that show that just didn't feel like Goosebumps. Nothing will ever come close to the original '90s show. Never. Slappy from the original '90s show is Slappy. You know what I mean? You'll never, nothing. You can't touch that. You really can't.
Can't touch.
No.
Absolutely.
I would have loved it if they would do what you talked about, though, Cal, where they took the '90s show and just rebooted it into today's market. Not so much changed as drastically as it did for this new Disney Plus show. Because I'm super excited for X-Men '97. I loved the X-Men animated series. I grew up loving that. Now, as a kid, of course, I never made the connection that Wolverine and Slappy were the same person because drastically different voices. So, and some people today still don't know. So when I bring it up, people are like, "He played Wolverine too?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, and he was the voice. Now I didn't know you did the dog, but I will say, I was I knew you did the voice in the intro with Jacqueline's music, but a lot of people didn't know that either. So it's just one of those things. Now that the '90s culture has come back, all these people are excited about it. They're learning about it. They're figuring out their favorite voice actors have done more than just one of the characters they probably love.
Yeah, and you're right. That none of them, because I play the theme at my table, and they can't believe what. Oh, you did that! Viewer beware, you're in for a scare. And none of them know that or knew that. So they're always surprised. I don't know because the voice of Slappy is so unique and high and stuff, and there's viewer beware. Oh, you can talk like normal. Yeah.
That's the wonders of voice acting.
Yeah, that's
just get someone who's "Oh, I thought your voice was always like that."
It's incredible when you see voice actors in real life. When I saw Kevin Conroy for the first time, I was like, "That's Batman?" I was like, "No way!" But obviously, then he does the voice, and you're like, "Holy shit!" It's it is Batman.
Yeah. Or people who can do multiple voices. I mean, I'm a Simpsons fan, and it's crazy to think that for over 30 years, 5 people did like 90% of those voices across like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of voices across just 5 people. Like, that's insane.
Hank Azaria, I've seen a video of him just having a conversation with himself as like comic book guy and a poo, and you're just like, whoa, like how he does it, you know? It's just crazy, but I'm always fascinated by it too. I love it.
Yeah.
You could have a conversation with Slappy and Wolverine. They could be having a conversation, you know?
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
I should actually write something like about that. Like write like a confrontation between the two of them and just having a conversation. It would be hilarious.
I'm trying to imagine like what would that entail as like, wow. I'd like to see that.
Like back off, bub.
Oh, yeah, sure. in your dream.
But what's another thing that you were talking about, Nick? It is Nick, right?
Yes.
And it's Nick.
Yes.
Okay. So at the last 2 Comic-Cons, the one in Baltimore and the one that was in Maryland, Bel Air, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
They had as a sort of a wrap thing party after the con, but this was actually the first night in Pikesville, just outside of Baltimore. It's where the con was. It's a 3-day con. So the first day was a Friday, and they had a karaoke night. And you know, I sang professionally for years, as I told you, right? So somebody gets up and they sang. And I got the Wolverine jacket on because we just closed the. It was only like it was 10 o'clock at night, so I was exhausted from doing that thing. But anytime I get to sing, it's a really good tracks that they had for the karaoke. So I sang Billy Joel's, which is my little brother Rory sang backgrounds of Billy Joel on his albums like Uptown Girl and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Rory that I was talking about, and also Rory before I remind me about the Billy Joel thing. He recorded. He's working. You hear that? Anyway, he's working with Jim Steinman all night. He did all the demos for Meatloaf, like the vocals prior, so Meatloaf could listen to them and learn the songs, the new songs. And Steinman wrote for many people. But so he's in and it's like they called Rory because we're from Canada. He called Rory's nickname was Ice, because we're from Canada. Can't like the pool. Ice. And so he said, Ice, can you do me a favor and sing this little thing? I'm doing this record for Bonnie Tyler. I just wrote this song for her. Can you just do this background? He said, Jim, it's 2 a.m. I'd like to get home. You know. And he said, oh, come on, it's only going to take you 15 minutes at the most. And Roy said, okay, let's go. And so that's fine. So sang it and he went home. And 10 months later, he's on the Grammys with Bonnie Tyler. It's Record of the Year. And it was like, ding, ding. Turn around every now and then I get a little bit. Turn around, right that's my little brother. Like, turn around. That whole thing. That's it.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was a big song.
That is a big song. Wow.
Yeah, it was a huge. It's still like they still play it. It's on the air all the time.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that to him, but because I love the Billy Joel stuff, so I did totally Kips to the Heart. New York State of Mind, and I got the Wolverine jacket on. That's all they know. They just do not know the singing that I've done and stuff. So I start. Some folks, this is still recovering from the doing Wolverine for the. But some folks like to get away, take a holiday from the neighborhood, hop a flight to Miami Beach or to Hollywood. Well, I'm taking a Greyhound on the Hudson River line. I'm in a New York state of mind. And they just, their jaws drop. They go like, what the?
Wolverine's got some pipes.
Singing like that? Well, they just lose it. They can't, they're just, it's ridiculous.
Crazy.
They just totally lose it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I love nothing better than just freaking them out. Yeah. Oh God! And I did it in Minneapolis. The X-Men. I forget what the whole event was called. They had this private club in Minneapolis downtown, and I got the right name, Minneapolis. I think so. Anyway, it was called the Uncanny Experience, and they opened up. They only invited 500 people, and it was this private club that they took over, and they had rooms, and they had a gym class and stuff for the students. And at the end of the weekend, the kids all got they graduated, so they got a diploma. Mm-hmm. And cool. we even got one. So, but I'm losing my point here. So I sat down at the piano because I played piano and accompanied myself and did a whole bunch of Billy Joel and Carole King tunes and stuff like that, and they just weren't expecting it. But there was only 2 people in the room, and I was just sitting down and play the piano because they had a break for an hour. Mm-hmm. Within 5 minutes, the room was jam-packed full of people. Wolverine's playing the piano and singing. It's hilarious. And
Better get the kids over here. You got to see Wolverine play the piano.
I know. Oh no! So they had a room. They had a room upstairs, and someone came down and said we were signing a little room downstairs. But so they had the whole private club, and they turned this one room into Logan's bedroom. So I said, "What?" So I went up, and it was Logan's bedroom, and they had the bed from the meme, the big meme, like the Mondo toy. Yeah. So he's got the picture. He's got the picture of Cyclops Jane. Yep. And he's lying down, and I freaked. I went down and got my claws, and put them on, and lay down in the bed. Well, all hell broke loose. People Wolverine's up in the bed. Logan's up in the bedroom. And there's three empty crushed cans of beer on the floor, and 2 up beside him, and then the picture. So I grabbed the picture and had it like this. Then the TV camera was there, and I'm just, and now he's directing me. Could you just tilt the claws a bit this way? I just said, I'm trying to work here, bum. And it was just a riot. But things like that upset that the fans just can't believe. This is Wolverine? He's here. He's upstairs doing the meme.
Yeah. Well, and again,
I'm pretty sure I saw that photo that I think you posted one on your Instagram. Yeah. And when I saw that, even I geeked out some. I was like, oh my God, no way. I was like, yeah. I wondered where that room was. So I was kind of curious. Yeah. I was like, did they set that up for him, specifically to recreate this meme? Or
that's what I was about to say. I was like, Logan's bedroom. I was like, does this have anything to do? And then you said it. I was like, yep, there we go. That's awesome. Well, we are gonna continue our. Oh, probably not.
No.
Well, we are going to continue our discussion and our chat with Cal Dodd and talk some more Goosebumps in just a second. But first, if you are not subbed to the Goosebumps channel, please do. This is our 12th episode. You got 11 episodes you got to catch up on. So go ahead and do that once you're done with this episode. And if you like what we do here at the Goosebumps Crew Podcast, please make sure that you check out rtamedia.org to see a bunch of other like-minded people who also make great podcasts ranging from pop culture to music to anything you can think of. There's all there. Please go show them some love because they really do deserve it. And we're going to get back to more Goosebumps in just a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Stevie Wicks Candle Company. It's a well-known fact that everyone loves a good-smelling candle every now and then. Stevie Wicks has you covered, as they specialize in quality-made scented candles. Not only do they have a large array of scents to choose from, but because Stevie Wicks candles are made from biodegradable soy-based wax, their candles burn slower and last longer. And if that wasn't enough, Stevie Wicks not only sells single and 3-wick candles, but they even sell jewelry, making Stevie Wicks a great place to get gifts for someone you know. And their monthly subscription boxes make for a gift that keeps on giving all year long. If you're a fan of Goosebumps like we are and are in the mood for some spooky smelling scents, they also have a selection for those who dabble in the supernatural, including Dragon's Blood, Witch's Brew, and Candy Corn. And Goosebumps Crew listeners have access to a very special deal. If you sign up for Stevie Wicks' monthly subscription box and use promo code LISTENERBEWARE at checkout, not only will you get 10% off your first month, but Stevie Wicks will make sure your box is filled with Halloween-themed scents, no matter the time of year. But wait, there's more. If you use promo code HAUNTED20 when purchasing your first subscription box, you'll get 20% off your first month. Or if you just want to snag something specific for yourself or a friend, you can use promo code SLAPPY10 to get 10% off any order. So what are you waiting for? Go to StevieWicks.com or click the link in the description to go snag yourself some quality made candles and snag some deals with our special Goosebumps promo codes. And of course, thanks to Stevie Wicks Candle Company for sponsoring this episode. And now, back to more Goosebumps. So there was the Night of the Living Dummy 2 and 3, and then the final Slappy episode of the original series was Bride of the Living Dummy. And this was the one where Slappy gets found by this ventriloquist. That starts the episode off, he's kind of like homeless, he's rummaging around the garbage, and he accidentally brings Slappy to life. And then he turns around, and this was always fun because he says the words, and his back is turned to Slappy. And he says the words, and then you just hear, "Hello, Jimmy," and he turns around, and Slappy's just standing there. Like, he's just standing there looking at him. He's like, "What are you doing out in a time like this, huh?" And that was always funny, because that was the only time where Slappy made himself known, and he's like, "Look, I'll make you famous if you do what I say." And they're at shows, and Slappy's just being himself, just insulting people. But unlike the other times, everybody loves it. They love being insulted by Slappy.
Yeah. What do you said that he said the words? The guy, like what, the Peru Mario Dalaloma?
Yep. So he finds Slappy in the trunk, and it's like normal. They find him, and then they pull the card out, and they say the magic words, Karu Mario Dalaloma. And there's like lightning and thunder crashing, and then once he says it, immediately Slappy's just like, "Hello," and he turns around, and there he is. He's just standing right there.
"Hello, Jimmy." That's right. Yeah.
He's like, "What's a nice fella like you doing in a place like this?"
He was such a unique character, Slappy. I mean,
he could be such a smart aleck.
Yeah, but evil, even though he was cute evil. There was definitely evil there, but like he could get away with it. He could get away with it because he was sort of cute and whatever, which made him even weirder and even eviler.
Yeah, because a ventriloquist dummy, people are just like, "Oh, it's just a dummy. It can't do anything," but you'd be wrong.
I suppose I should mention this. I've said this on the podcast once before, but a girl that I work with, she's about the same age as you, Nick. She got sent to therapy because of Slappy.
What?
She was so scared of it, and her brother used to just run around and hold up a picture of Slappy, and he'd always put the episode on, and she literally was just so terrified of him that she had to go to therapy. I'm like, God damn! And then there's me watching it, and I'm like, this is comfort for me. It's comforting, but
I was about to say it's like comfort.
Goosebumps was comfort, Slappy particular, but. Yeah, he was truly a sinister little guy, and he scared some kids, in the 90s. But, we love him. He's our favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, you do horror for kids. You do want to make sure you do the horror part, right? And I think the way that they did those episodes and Night of the Living or Bride of the Living Dummy had some really good POV shots. I mean, there was a whole shot where he's just like walking up the stairs at night. And I think there's even a scene where he comes across the dog. He's like, "Move it, mutt."
Oh, yeah.
Move it, mutt.
Move it, mutt. Yeah.
Like, that's good. He even locks the dog in the trunk. It's like they think Slappy's in the trunk, and they open it, and it's the dog, and they're like, "Ah!"
It's in a way, that's kind of like so horrible.
Yeah.
Like, he locks him in the trunk, that's cruelty. But, hey, I mean, that was great. It was great little moments. Okay.
Yeah, the dog was fine. The dog's happy to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, one part that kind of creeped me out as a kid at the end of that episode. So in every episode, Slappy's defeated. He's destroyed. In the first one, his head cracks open and the green mist comes out. In the second one, he gets hit by lightning and he blows up. And then in Bride, he gets sawed by by like a bandsaw. He falls onto a bandsaw and gets shredded. But in the last one, his ghost
possesses Harrison.
Yeah, he possesses Harrison, and Harrison it's like one of the kids, and he's locked in the bathroom, and then they go up after Slappy's defeated. They go up into the bathroom to check on him, and Slappy like possessed him, and he turned around and he's got these huge eyes, these like plastic eyes. And he goes like from his normal voice to your voice saying, Harrison doesn't live here anymore. Like, wow. One of the best endings to a Goosebumps episode because it catches you off guard. You don't expect it, and it sticks with you. But I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Even Harrison's hair changed to Slappy's hair. Like
it did.
Oh, wow.
They did the curl and everything.
Had the little like curl in the front. It did.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't even notice that like until you just mentioned it. And I'm like, oh my god, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Harrison was a great part of that episode. I just love. He's like the guy who's just like that. He's the kid that's just so tired of everybody. He's just like, do we have to stick around to look for the stupid doll? Like, can we just go home? And then he's just crashing at their house. He's just eating a bunch of junk food, watching scary movies, and then he goes into their bathroom and they were watching Goosebumps. Yeah, it's weird.
Clips of the show on.
Weird metaphysical stuff.
Yeah.
But then Slappy locks him in the bathroom, and he's just like, they're like, we're gonna get help. Like, stay there. He's just like, where am I gonna go? He's just so done with everyone's crap. Such funny episodes. Like, those are probably. I know a lot of people say like Slappy is scary. I thought those episodes were hilarious. Like, even when it's not like trying to be like funny and in terms of like a writing sense where they're making jokes, like sometimes it's just the fact that this ventriloquist dummy is like trying to get you can be scary, but it's also kind of funny because of like he's a small little guy. And even in the third one when he's because that was the only one the hour-long episode, that was the only one where they had to actually have someone in a suit because they couldn't always have it be an actual dummy. So sometimes they would have it be a guy in a suit. And so when you go from the dummy to the guy and he's like chasing after him, he's like...
You could see you could see it was clearly... But it was actually a girl that was in Slappy's suit. There was a girl dressed up as Slappy from memory because she actually signed my script that I got here. So, well, one of the signatures was from her. So I have, actually, that was one of the little show and tell pieces I had. How I got one of the original scripts from Night of the Living Dummy 3. And it's signed by pretty much the whole cast, including Hayden Christensen, but it's missing one autograph. One autograph too. Cal Dodd.
I wonder who that could be.
So, I mean, it'd be a dream come true. Get Slappy's signature on here, but I've got everyone else's, even the girl that dressed up as Slappy in Night of the Living Dummy 3, but I missed the Cal Dodd signatures autograph on there. So.
Were they these people, any of these people in Toronto that signed that script?
I think so.
This was actually Nick also has a script from The Haunted Mask. So my favorite's always been Night of the Living Dummy, and Nick's always been The Haunted Mask. I believe these came from, was it an estate sale, Nick? Someone?
So the way I understand it was there's a company, and they specialize in movie and TV scripts and signatures and things like that. And they had a whole lot that they gotten of Goosebumps scripts. And now most of them, there's still a few on eBay, I think, through that auction site, but there's not many left. The rest are now in hands of collectors. But talking to one of the actors who signed mine, he said that it wasn't unusual at the time when production had wrapped for them to be given a script or two or whatever the case may be and just have them sign the script. So a lot of the signatures are just done at production wrap. And how they made it to their way to public domain, probably the people ended up selling them after a while, I guess. But that's how I got mine, was actually through another collector. But there are still some out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, if you can find them. I want to quickly bring up, so we talked about Slappy, and you mentioned earlier that you are also the voice in of the Lawn Gnomes in Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. And that's also an interesting one because it's very similar. When they do talk, it is very similar to Slappy. It's maybe a little more high-pitched, a little more like, like, they're gnomes, so they're mischievous. But I always loved that. I just loved how they were like always bickering with each other. Because they're like, how should we deal with the kids? It's like, let's squash them like bugs. And then they're like, and then another one says, like, wait, I know, we'll squash them like bugs. He's like, that's what I said. And then probably my favorite line is they're like, what are we gonna do? And they're like, yeah, what are you gonna do now, smart guy?
Yeah. Some great lines in there.
And there was a guy that,
all of them.
there was a
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, there was also a neighbor, the next door neighbor or something. That was a man. I forget, was he a sergeant or something?
Yeah.
The major.
That was the Lawn Gnomes or something.
Yeah, that was the one with the lawn gnomes. You had had the main kid and his family, and they had all the lawn ornaments, and then that's where the lawn gnomes come in. And then they live next door to this like sergeant, this like general, and he is like constantly giving the main characters like crap because he's like he wants to win like the gardening contest, and then the gnomes come in and they mess all his stuff up. And then the episode ends with them turning him into a lawn gnome, and then they place him in the yard, and it's just him. It's like it's funny.
And that was very weird. I mean, funny, but like holy shit.
Yeah.
Turned him into a statue.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's like, oof.
But I was happy. I was happy that they did it to him because he was an arsehole.
Yep, he was.
Yes,
he was a bit of a meanie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that was a great episode too. I mean,
Some freaky moments too. Actually, I remember as a kid, the part that used to scare me in that episode was when they looked over into the bush and you could just see the red eyes staring at them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the part where they're actually like coming out of the bushes, like they're just kind of like creeping, and then they start running after them. Like that's kind of creepy. But once they started talking and like fighting with each other, they started pushing each other. Like it was like, okay.
So do you have these? You have these? 'Cause again, I can't find any anywhere. And I was going to. I remember trying to phone the TV station that it was on here in Canada. But what? Thank you. What do you have it on VHS? Like you guys?
Yep.
So you can actually find copies to watch. The Netflix still has some episodes, and you can go on YouTube, and every episode is on there as well.
Yeah, every episode's been uploaded on YouTube. Yeah, it's
so. Actually, I can send you a link, Cal, to a channel that's got all of them on there. Isaiah, do you have all of them on yours or no?
I think I only have 2 and 3. I don't have Bride.
Okay.
But and they also have been released on DVD. And one of them was on VHS. In terms of the Slappy episodes, they've all been released on DVD here in the States, and I'm assuming probably in Canada too. So you probably, if you looked around, we might be able to help you find some.
On DVD?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I have all the X-Men stuff on as well.
Yeah, you can get
whatever.
You can get Night Living Dummy 3 on a DVD, and you can get 2 and Bride on another separate DVD as well.
Yeah, so they're not all on one, unfortunately, and
where would you check that? Where would you look? What would you enter to search for that?
I would probably go to eBay or Amazon, and you'll probably find something. We can help you find something too if you'd like.
Yeah, I can send you some links.
Okay, terrific.
Wink, wink, wink.
I do actually. You know what? I do have a spare copy of 2 and Bride on DVD, and it is the American release as well. So I mean, I'd be happy to just send it to you if you want it. I have a spare copy.
Well, you might want to keep that, wouldn't you?
Oh, it's all good.
Thank you very much, but I don't want to. Yeah, but I don't want to
You
take
sure?
that from you.
That's all. I'll just offer. I've got a few spare copies. I mean, when it comes to Slappy, I buy.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, believe me when I say, Cal, like he's got tons of spares of certain
He's
things.
swimming in Goosebumps tapes.
Sometimes he comes across things he forgot he even had, and then he finds he's got like tons of them. So it's wild. He easily probably has the biggest Goosebumps collection in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you see Bjorn's collection, see the kind of stuff that came out for Goosebumps, it's kind of like there was Goosebumps stuff of this. Like there's like
They had shampoo soap.
shampoo soap
Shampoo soap.
and clocks and all sorts of stuff. It's crazy. But again, just a testament to how big Goosebumps was in the 90s and how big it is now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It was massive.
for sure.
They had everything you can think of that, like, they stretched that brand so far. They really did.
Oh, yeah.
They pushed
We're
it
still
big
finding
time. And then,
today
Yeah.
that we didn't even know existed back then, because even other countries did things that weren't in the States or Canada. Like, so much stuff is just worldwide. So we're finding new things all the time that came out that we didn't even know about.
Yeah.
Wow.
100%. Do you do like autographs like online, like through your website, or like can you purchase like autographs through your website?
Yeah. Yeah, my wife does that. I know this much about. Yeah. And, yeah, because I can sell my CD, because I recorded a CD about 9 years ago with a big band, music and stuff. And I have those that I haven't really done it yet, but I'm able to.
Oh, nice.
And
awesome.
and just out of the goodness of my heart, if I do a cameo or something, for a cameo, and they just ask if can I send you a picture, and I said sure, and then I'll just sign it and send it back to them, ship it back.
Oh,
to them.
wow.
That's
That
awesome.
that'd be amazing because the one signature missing from this script is your signature. I mean, if
You
were
can do that.
happy to sign it.
Yeah, I would certainly do that. For sure.
Thank you so much. Because it's funny. I've got the girl who dressed up as Slappy. I've got the guy who dressed up as Rocky, but I don't have the voice actors on there.
So what? So you'd well, if Nick and whatever, you can get me the just contact me and I'll give the address to Nicholas.
Yeah, that's fine.
Where you can send it.
Yep.
And then I'll do it and then send it back to you. No problem whatsoever.
Thank you so
I would love
much.
to do that.
And Bjorn's autograph collection grows.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it's a very important one too. It's the most important one.
No, but for sure, I'm delving seriously into like what that showrunner said to me. Okay, I am ready because but I need to get I want to get all the episodes so I can watch them. So so it's fresh with me and back in my memory.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So, I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, we understand. Like when we had Scott on the podcast last night, he had told us he went back to do the same thing. He's like, I had to go back and watch the episodes I was in. He's like, I hate watching myself on there, but he's like, it's been so long, I really needed to like refresh my memory about certain things, and so
Yeah. Oh, for
absolutely.
Yeah. And I guess to close things out, just say it's I mean, you were just incredible, Slappy. Absolutely iconic. Of all the things in the 90s show, I mean, like the Haunted Mask and the some of the episodes, I mean, Slappy certainly stands out and probably the most iconic interpretation of that character, and we got you to thank for that.
Yeah, well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Those are great words, but I just so enjoyed doing it, and I hate used to say doing them, but I just so enjoyed voicing him. This is such a unique character.
Yep.
Same as. But I'm getting cold. I'm going inside.
Well, on that note, I guess it's a good place to stop for this episode.
please do. All you guys, it's been a just a great time. Just anything you want, like just contact me, and I'm more than happy to do anything that you guys want.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
And we very much appreciate you being on for today. That's going to do it for this episode of the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. And seriously, thank you again, Cal, for joining us.
You're
and
so welcome.
talking some Goosebumps. Some Goosebumps. And and if you guys want to follow Cal, he's available. He's on Instagram. He usually posts pictures from the cons he does visit, so please go follow him on Instagram. And he does have a Cameo, so if you guys want a personalized message from Cal, whether it be from Wolverine or Slappy or whoever, please go check him out over on Cameo also. And
speaking of that, sorry to interrupt you guys, but there was a woman at the last con in Baltimore in Pikesville, who she was selling tiaras, like sparkly diamond tiara things.
Yeah,
she was I don't know, like an elderly woman, and she Wolverine fan. And every day I would just go in and say, "I'm here for my hug," or I just say, "I'm here for my hug." Up, get up, whatever. And she said, "You've just made my." She said, anyway, she comes over with one of these tiaras. Says, would you mind taking a picture with one of them? So that's on what Nick was saying. She published this picture with me with with my Wolverine jacket with the claws on, with the bent tiara on my head. So, by way of explanation.
Yeah, I don't know. Wolverine with the tiara amazing. Looks pretty neat.
That's amazing.
And of course, follow my Goosebumps brothers, Nick and Bjorn, Goosebumps Aussie fan, Nick Shawin. And of course, go follow Micah Lilquist, the ultimate Goosebumps man. Of course, he was unable to join us tonight, but show him some love because he'll be back with us next week when we talk with Ian Clark, who is Mr. Dawes in Welcome to Dead House. We're going to be doing another episode retrospective, so you guys are going to want to sub to the Goosebumps channel for future Goosebumps episodes of the Goosebumps podcast and any other future Goosebumps videos. But until then, this has been the Goosebumps Crew Podcast, and I want to wish you all to take care, stay safe, and have a scary day.